You know, Emma, I've seen it happen so many times here in Vietnam, and it truly breaks my heart a little bit every time. I'm talking about brilliant, capable Vietnamese individuals who've studied English for years, literally freezing up when a native speaker asks them a simple question. It's like their mind just goes completely blank. They know the answer, they have the vocabulary, but it just vanishes.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean, Andrew. I've witnessed that too, and it's so frustrating for them, I can tell. For me, I just want to help, but I don't know how. I've been in situations where I've asked something so basic, like, "What did you do last night?" And I can see the gears turning, the panic setting in, and then silence. It's like they're trapped inside their own head. Welcome to SpeakCast English, everyone. Today, we're tackling that exact painful moment, the English conversation freeze. We're going to explore why it happens, and more importantly, how to break free from it. So Andrew, you mentioned it breaks your heart. As a native speaker, I see it, and I feel this sense of helplessness. I'll ask something simple like, "How was your weekend?" And their eyes will just glaze over. They look terrified. Sometimes they even apologize. "Sorry, my English is not good." Even when I know it is good, it's like they're preemptively shutting down.
Yes, exactly that. It's almost like they physically recoil, and I understand why, believe me. It's a very complex feeling. It's not just about not knowing the words, it's a cocktail of things. Fear of making mistakes, the pressure of performing in real time, maybe even a bit of cultural expectation. Imagine you've spent years learning something, you've put in all this effort, and then in the moment that matters, your brain just says, "Nope, not today." It's incredibly disheartening for the learner, and it's a barrier to connection for both sides. I remember one time I was at a coffee shop, and the barista, who I knew spoke English quite well because we chatted before, just completely froze when I asked her about a new pastry. She looked at me, then at the pastry, then back at me, and just mumbled, good, and I knew she wanted to say more but couldn't.
But why? I mean, they know the words, right? They can probably write a perfect essay about their weekend. They can understand a complex movie without subtitles. Why does it all vanish in that moment? What's the difference between understanding and producing?
That's a fantastic question, Emma, and it gets right to the heart of the problem. You've hit on something crucial, the difference between asterisk receptive skills and productive skills. When you're listening or reading, you're receiving information. Your brain has time to process, to make connections, to infer meaning. It's like being a detective piecing together clues. But when you're speaking, you're producing information. You're not just recalling words, you're constructing sentences, choosing grammar, thinking about pronunciation, all while trying to keep up with the flow of a conversation. It's like being a chef in a busy kitchen, trying to cook a complex meal from scratch, perfectly in front of an audience with no recipe in front of you.
Wow, that's a great analogy. So it's not just about knowing the ingredients, but knowing how to cook them under pressure.
Exactly, and there are several layers to this freeze. First, there's the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are taught that mistakes are bad, that they reflect poorly on their intelligence or their learning, so they become perfectionists. They want to form the perfect sentence in their head before they even open their mouth. But by the time they've done that, the conversation has moved on, or the moment has passed.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. When I was learning French, I'd spend so much time trying to conjugate verbs perfectly in my head, and by the time I had it, the person had already walked away or changed the subject. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it's counterproductive. The second layer is cognitive overload. As I mentioned, your brain is doing so much at once. Translating from your native language, recalling vocabulary, applying grammar rules, thinking about pronunciation, and trying to understand the other person's nonverbal cues. It's like trying to juggle 5 balls at once and then someone throws you a 6th. Your brain just drops everything.
So it's not that they don't know, it's that they can't access it quickly enough under pressure.
Precisely. And then there's the lack of real-time speaking practice. Many English learners spend years in classrooms focusing on grammar exercises, reading comprehension, and writing essays. All valuable skills, but they don't simulate the spontaneity of a real conversation. It's like training for a marathon by only doing sprints. You're fast, but you don't have the endurance for the long haul.
That makes so much sense. I remember my English classes were very much about textbooks and tests, not so much about just chatting. So if we know why it happens, what can we do about it? How do we unfreeze?
That's the million-dollar question, Emma. And the good news is, there are very practical, actionable steps we can take. It's about building confidence and muscle memory for speaking, not just for understanding. And the first technique I want to talk about, which is incredibly powerful, is called shadowing.
Shadowing, like following someone around?
Not quite. In language learning, shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say almost simultaneously. You're not waiting for them to finish a sentence, you're trying to speak along with them, like an echo.
Oh, that sounds difficult. Wouldn't I just be mumbling? And what if I don't understand every single word they're saying?
Those are excellent questions, and they get to the core of why shadowing is so effective. You will mumble at first, and that's perfectly fine. The goal isn't perfect pronunciation or understanding every word in the beginning. The primary goal of shadowing is to get your mouth, your tongue, and your vocal cords used to the asterisk physical act of producing English sounds, rhythms, and intonation. It's about building that muscle memory. Think of it like a musician practicing scales. They're not trying to play a beautiful song, they're training their fingers to move correctly.
So it's less about the meaning and more about the sound and feel?
Exactly. You're focusing on the melody of the language, how words connect, where the stress falls, the natural pauses. This helps you develop a more natural flow and rhythm, which is often what makes non-native speakers sound choppy or hesitant.
Okay, so how do I actually do it? Do I just pick any English audio? So I listen to a 30-second clip, and then I try to repeat it right after.
Even better, try to repeat it as you're listening. Put on headphones, listen to a sentence or a short phrase, and try to say it at the same time as the speaker. Don't worry about understanding every word at first. Just try to match their rhythm, their intonation, their speed.
Just try to match their rhythm, their intonation, their speed. It feels a bit silly, but I can see how it would help get the words out.
It absolutely does. Let's try a quick example. I'll say a short phrase and you try to shadow me. Don't think too much, just try to mimic the sound. Ready?
Ready.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Good. Notice how the isn't it kind of blends together? That's what we're aiming for. Let's try another one. I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
Excellent. You're not just saying the words, you're capturing the natural stress and flow. Do you feel how it helps your mouth form the sounds more easily?
I do. It's like my tongue is getting a workout. It feels less like I'm thinking about each word and more like I'm just doing it.
Exactly. And that's the key to breaking the freeze. When you're in a real conversation, you don't have time to consciously think about every single sound. Shadowing trains your mouth to produce those sounds automatically. It builds confidence because you're successfully producing English, even if it's just by mimicking.
So how often should someone do this, and for how long?
Consistency is more important than duration. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference. You could do it while you're commuting or doing chores. The more you do it, the more natural speaking English will feel. And as you get better, you can start focusing on understanding the meaning while you shadow, and then even trying to rephrase things in your own words after shadowing.
That makes sense. So shadowing helps with the physical act of speaking. What else can we do to reduce that cognitive overload?
Another powerful technique is learning in chunks, not just individual words. This is often called lexical chunks, or phrase-based learning. Instead of learning how are you, learn how are you as one unit. Instead of I am fine, thank you, learn I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, like when I learned bonjour and caviar together in French, not just bon and jour separately. It felt more natural to say them as a pair.
Precisely. Your brain stores these chunks as single units of meaning. When you need to say how are you, your brain doesn't have to assemble 3 separate words and apply grammar rules. It just retrieves one pre-assembled chunk. This dramatically reduces cognitive load and speeds up your response time.
So instead of thinking, okay, I need the verb to be and the pronoun I and the adjective good, I just pull out I'm good.
Exactly. Think about how many common phrases we use every day without thinking. How's it going? What do you think? No problem? Sounds good to me. These are all chunks. If you learn them as chunks, you'll sound more natural and you'll be able to respond much faster.
That's brilliant. So how do I find these chunks?
You can find them everywhere. Listen to native speakers, watch movies, read dialogues. Pay attention to how words naturally go together. Keep a notebook just for chunks. For example, instead of just writing interesting, write that's interesting, or it was an interesting experience. Or instead of agree, write I agree with you, or I couldn't agree more.
So when I hear something like, could you pass the salt? I should write down the whole phrase, not just pass and salt.
Absolutely, and then you can use shadowing with these chunks. Let's try a few common chunks. I'll say them and you shadow them.
Okay, I'm ready.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
See how quickly you can produce those. They're like ready-made building blocks for conversation. This is how native speakers talk. We don't construct every sentence from individual words. We use a vast library of these prefabricated chunks.
That's so empowering. It feels less like I have to invent everything on the spot.
Precisely. And speaking of buying yourself time, another technique that helps immensely with the freeze is using natural filler words and phrases.
Filler words, but aren't those bad? I thought we were supposed to avoid saying and
That's a common misconception, Emma. While excessive, distracting fillers can be an issue, natural, appropriate fillers are a vital part of native speaker conversation. They serve several important functions. First, they buy you time to think. When you're searching for a word or trying to formulate your next thought, a quick or well or let me see can prevent an awkward silence and signal to the other person that you're still processing.
Oh, so it's like a verbal, hold on a second.
Exactly. Second, they make you sound more natural and less robotic. No one speaks in perfectly formed, uninterrupted sentences all the time. We all use fillers. Think about how often you hear phrases like, you know, I mean, sort of, kind of, actually, basically. These are all natural parts of spoken English.
So instead of panicking and going silent, I can use a filler to give myself a moment?
Absolutely. It's a tool, not a crutch. The key is to use them naturally and not overuse them. Let's practice a few. I'll say a sentence, and then you can add a filler before responding.
Okay, I'll try.
So, what are your plans for the summer?
Well, I'm actually thinking of taking a trip to the beach.
Perfect. You used well to give yourself a moment. Let's try another. What did you think of the movie we watched last night?
I thought it was pretty good, but the ending was a bit confusing.
Fantastic. And are both excellent. They sound completely natural. They signal to me that you're engaged and thinking, rather than just being silent. This is a huge step in overcoming the freeze because it gives you a safe, acceptable way to pause without feeling like you've failed.
I can see how that would really help with confidence. It's like having a safety net.
It is, and it leads us to the most important mindset shift. Focus on communication, not perfection. This is probably the biggest hurdle for many learners. They believe that if they make a mistake, they've failed. But in real conversation, mistakes are part of the process. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. We mispronounce words, we use incorrect grammar, we stumble over our sentences. The goal is to be understood, not to be flawless.
Yes, I'd rather someone speak broken English to me and communicate their idea than stay silent because they're afraid of making a mistake. The connection is what matters.
Exactly. Think about it this way. If you're talking to a friend and they say, I go to the store, you understand them perfectly, right? You don't stop the conversation to correct their grammar. You focus on the message. We need to encourage learners to adopt that same mindset for themselves. Every mistake is a learning opportunity, not a failure. It's feedback that tells you what you need to work on.
So it's about reframing mistakes as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
Precisely. And this ties back to all the techniques we've discussed. Shadowing helps you build fluency without the pressure of creating original content. Learning chunks gives you ready-made phrases so you don't have to build every sentence from scratch. And using fillers gives you permission to pause and think without feeling awkward. All of these contribute to building confidence, which is the ultimate antidote to the conversation freeze.
So it's a holistic approach. It's not just one magic trick, but a combination of tools and a change in perspective.
You've got it. It's about slowly chipping away at that fear and building up your practical speaking skills. And remember, every single time you open your mouth and try to speak English, even if it's just to shadow a phrase, you're making progress. You're strengthening those speaking muscles.
I love that, strengthening those speaking muscles. It makes it sound like a workout, which it kind of is. So for our listeners today, what's one concrete challenge they can take away from this episode to start breaking their own freeze?
That's a fantastic question, Emma. And I have a challenge that combines a couple of our techniques. Your challenge for this week is to choose one short audio clip, maybe 30 to 60 seconds, from a podcast, a YouTube video, or even a movie scene, and shadow it for just 10 minutes every day.
Just 10 minutes? That sounds totally doable.
Absolutely. And here's the kicker. After you've shadowed it a few times, try to identify 3 new chunks or filler phrases from that clip. Write them down, And then make a conscious effort to use one of those new chunks or fillers in a real conversation this week. It could be with a friend, a colleague, or even just talking to yourself in the mirror.
Oh, I love that. So it's not just passive listening, it's active practice and then immediate application. That really solidifies the learning. For example, if I heard someone say, "I'm on my way," I'd shadow it, then write it down, and then try to use it when I'm leaving the house.
Exactly. Or if you hear someone say, "That's a tough one," you shadow it, write it down, and then when someone asks you a difficult question, you can use it to buy yourself a moment. The key is to make it real, make it active. Don't just listen, participate. Don't just learn words, learn how they flow together. And don't be afraid to make noise.
That's such a practical and empowering challenge. It breaks down a big, scary problem into small, manageable steps, and it addresses both the physical act of speaking and the mental block.
That's the goal. We want to empower our listeners to feel confident and capable. The freeze is a common hurdle, but it's absolutely surmountable with the right techniques and a shift in mindset. Remember, every time you try, you're winning. You're pushing past that fear.
So to recap for our listeners, first, understand why you freeze. It's often fear of mistakes, cognitive overload, and lack of real-time practice. Second, start shadowing for 10 to 15 minutes a day to build muscle memory and natural rhythm. Third, learn English in chunks or phrases, not just individual words, to reduce cognitive load. Fourth, embrace natural filler words and phrases to buy yourself thinking time and sound more natural. And finally, and most importantly, shift your mindset to focus on communication over perfection. Mistakes are part of the journey.
You summarized that beautifully, Emma. And for our challenge this week, pick one short audio clip, shadow it daily for 10 minutes, identify 3 new chunks or fillers, and use at least one of them in a real conversation.
Choose just one and use it today, even in a text message. That counts as practice. The more you use these new phrases, the more they become part of your active vocabulary, and the less likely you are to freeze.
All right, that's a wrap for today. Seriously though, which part of this felt most real to you? Was it the idea of shadowing or learning in chunks, or maybe the permission to use filler words?
Drop your answer in the comments. We love hearing from you and understanding what resonates most. And if this helped you, like this video and subscribe. We post new episodes every single day, packed with practical tips just like these to help you speak English with confidence.
This has been SpeakCast English. Thanks for listening, keep practicing, keep pushing, and we'll see you in the next one.